Welcome. I'm Lisa Albanowski. This is my business forum. I'm a real estate associate broker with Signature Premier Properties. And today I have with me Paul Helbig, who is a teacher and at the high school level, and his focus is English. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to interview you. Teaching is probably something that I don't know much about other than teaching in sales, some sales associates, right? But, obviously I have kids, I have grandkids, and I went to school myself, but it must be very different today from the days of me going to school. What are some of the changes that you've seen over the years in teaching?
Well, I started in 2001. So this being 2022, definitely technology, the use of the cell phones. It seems like, every kid has them. And it seems like it creeps up now and then in the classroom. There's so many different ways that they're trying to be, they're distracted. And you as a teacher, you're trying to get them to, know the information. And also, I believe that education, or the way I teach, you have to entertain. You have to grab their interest. You really got to grab them. And sometimes you have to battle with the phones and whatnot. So it's very important for teachers to establish rules, classroom rules about the use of cell phones.
Very interesting.
So they have your, undivided attention.
And that's interesting because, when I went to school, there were no cell phones in
Right.
my classes, so the distraction wasn't there. What are the rules? Are there hard and fast rules in the district, or does the teacher set them?
Well, the teacher sets them within the classroom. So there are many various ways. A teacher in particular, I'm thinking of one teacher who has like a long calculator holder with numbers. And then for extra credit or for participation points, whoever puts their phone in the slot, they get an extra 10 points for the day. Those add up for a test grade or an exam grade or no homework for the week. So that really motivates students to say, you know what, I'm not going to use my phone. So I'm going to, take a break from it, and I'm really going to invest in the class.
Interesting, very distracting, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes.
What changes do you want to see in education, going forward?
What changes? I would like,
If any.
No, I think with my profession with English, I have an opportunity to make time to connect or make my subject or the literature that I'm reading to aloud or teaching relevant to my students. Whereas a math teacher, it just seems to me, and I have many math teachers as friends, that it's just day after day after day after day. The topics and the units change. So let's say it's algebra and we're learning about, something in algebra. Again, I'm an English teacher. So something in algebra. They really only have 2 days, maybe a day to teach it. And then they have to move on. So where is the math student like, okay, well, where's the repair work? Where is I learned something, but maybe I need an extra day. Maybe I need a little bit more room. And it seems like the testing is just it's just so much, testing. And I think that education should just step back a little bit and have the kids discover. Whereas I know in the younger, when I went to school in my younger years, there was a lot of discovery, and exploration, and then you learn. It just seems now it's just, test. And I think that we need to deviate from that. Again,
it's very hard and fast,
it is.
as far as the curriculum you have to keep to. Otherwise, you're off track, and then you can't get the kids graduated with the information that is necessary that the curriculum says.
Right. And again, I've been blessed with, teaching English, that it's a skill. Teaching English, you're teaching skills. Whereas a content base like science or math, it's, there's a regents at the end of the year, right? So it's all this content that they have to learn. They're only
Yeah.
given 1 or 2 days, and then you have to move on to the next topic.
Interesting. You
I
know,
just think it's,
yeah, yeah. I'm relating to my childhood in my, formative years, and I agree that, when I think back, I didn't like math, and I think it was because I couldn't grasp the concepts of the higher level math as quickly as I needed to.
right,
But English, I loved English.
right,
It was one of my favorite topics. In fact,
right.
my kids still go to me and they say, you know, is this right with their kids? I have grandkids. So, go to grandma. She's a good English person. I didn't speak well just now. Good English person.
Well, we're off the clock, so I'm not gonna. I won't.
Exactly. Very interesting, though. Very interesting.
Another
Um,
thing, if I can add, Lisa, I
yes.
think I think high school starts too early. My first class is 7:05. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a lot. I think maybe start at 9:30. Where again, in a perfect world, I know there are buses and there's many other schedules involved, but in a perfect world, I would start school around 9:15.
And why is that?
I think you get the students would be more engaged, more refreshed, um, as opposed to 7 o'clock where they're still waking up, and
Yeah.
everybody waking up at 6 o'clock or 5:30. I mean, it takes a toll.
Yeah. And if they're doing anything before school, it's really early.
Right. Well, think about math. What about math as a first period? If I'm a student and I have math first period at 7 o'clock in the morning,
Oh
it's a,
boy.
it's right. It's a tough sell. So again, that would be the second change.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
that comes from you being in the field, right?
Right.
What's been your most positive teaching experience? Can you share something with me?
Oh, best positive teaching experience would be meeting former students. One in particular who actually came back and observed my class and was becoming an English teacher because I influenced them. That was the biggest accolade I could ever receive. That was
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yep. It must be really fulfilling that you made an impact on their life so much, not only as somebody who learned well, but also then wants to follow in your footsteps.
But as teachers, we don't see it. We do it every day. So when someone comes up to you and says, you changed my life, or you influenced me in such a way that I want to be a teacher, you're like, oh, okay. You try to think back. It's something you've said, or maybe something you did, or it's something silly in class. I teach a Greek mythology unit, and I get on the desk, right? I mean, like the Dead Poet Society, what Robin Williams did. I get on the desk, and we pretend that it's ancient Greece, and we're in the field, and I'm on a rock, the old man on the rock, telling stories and myths. And I think students gravitate towards that, and they remember that.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's I can remember my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Beaumont.
Right.
Is that crazy?
That's
And all these years, he stood out, and I can't tell you why, because it was a long time ago.
right.
But there's something about him that I feel like he cared and he engaged.
Right.
Right.
And you probably don't remember what you learned, but you remember that particular teacher.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. So you just brought that back to my memory.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. What qualities do you have that an excellent teacher needs, do you believe?
Patience.
Ah,
Patience. Someone told me long ago, when I was first starting out, don't act like a teacher, right? Don't act like a teacher. Don't, maybe you see in the movies, or maybe you're trying to act like maybe you're the previous teachers that you had. Be yourself. Be yourself, and let that come through in your teaching. And I think that has carried me through my career. Whereas, if it's a noisy classroom, right? Kids are excited, or if they're noisy, if you want their attention, don't get louder. Speak softer. And when you speak softer, they get it. And there's always that one student who's like, hey, he's trying to teach, guys, come on, everybody. And it just works. They see the patience, and definitely respect. You have to respect you have to give respect to earn respect. And I know people say, oh, well, they're kids, and you're their model. You're modeling a lot of what it is to be a successful adult, right? And patience, respect, those are the two major things that you have to teach your students. Yes, you're going to teach them the subjects, and yes, you're going to teach them math and science or what have you. But you have to teach them how to be, good human beings.
I feel when you're speaking that it's so genuine and so connected to you, that you're speaking about who you really are, and that's what you allow to come through.
Right. Again, I'm not acting like a teacher. I'm
Right.
just
Acting,
myself.
right? Yeah.
I'm being myself, and it's kind of shines through that way.
So what's the best part of being a teacher for you?
Best part of being a teacher is I get 30 kids, 5 shows a day. And I don't know what I would do without it. I have 5 shows, and whatever the topic is, like I said, I entertain, and I want them to come into my classroom saying, oh, great. I have Mr. Helbig. All right, good. Something's going to happen today, right? This is, something's going to happen today, and in a positive way, obviously. And that's it, and it's always, I don't think I was ever meant to be in a cubicle. Not that there's anything wrong with that, in an office or, in a certain kind of, business world. And I don't think I was cut out for that. I was meant for, being in front of an audience. And again, like I say, it's 5 shows a day and 5 days a week. And yeah, I love it.
And it shows. I can tell by the way you're talking about it. So what made you decide to become a teacher?
Well, I was in the beginning, when you find yourself in your 20s, you're like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I'm a drummer, a guitarist, I'm a singer, so I love making music. But I didn't want to be a music teacher because I felt that would kind of be a job. And I didn't want my love of music to become like a job. But I loved literature, I loved poetry, I loved writing songs. So I gravitated towards the English part of it.
I guess it's hence the show.
Yes.
Said show, right?
Right. Yep. So, and along the journey in my young 20s, people would say, "Oh, you should be a coach, or you should be this," and someone just said, "You should be a teacher." I said, "Oh, okay." And it wasn't that moment that I said, "Oh, yes," the light shine on, and that didn't happen. But I said to myself, after a couple of months, maybe a year, I said, "You know what? I'm going to take one class. I'm going to take one English class at Suffolk Community College. And I'll know right then and there if I like it, maybe I'll pursue it. If I don't, then I know. I have my answer." I absolutely loved the class. And that's just set me going forward.
So you had a great teacher as well.
Yes. Inspired
That's awesome.
me.
It's so interesting. I've been in sales most of my life. I could never see myself in a cubicle in that kind of a sales. I'm out, I'm about, I'm interacting with people. It's always for me learning and experience and connecting. And I guess with kids for you, it's the same thing. You have new people coming to you each year, and you're able to really help mold someone in their formative years.
And even I teach 10th grade. So maybe they leave and I see them in the hallway as 11th graders or 12th graders. I still say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey," I'm always, I always say, once a Helbig student, you're always a Helbig student. you know, and I also teach seniors when they leave, you know, email me if you need help with your resume, you
How
know, a
nice.
little recommendation. So that bond is just doesn't stop when they get the diploma. You know, it's you're forming these relationships that you want to help them, right? You want to help them even after high school. You still want to be their teacher after high school, and you really want to help them out.
You know, when I thought about interviewing a teacher, I have such visions of some of my teachers and how it was just so black and white and curriculum based, right? I would have loved to be in your class. I'm sure that people walking out of your class absolutely learn something because you make it enjoyable.
I try. I try.
Well,
Yep.
you come off that way, Paul. It was such a wonderful opportunity to meet you, and I'm very happy that you gave me the opportunity to share your experience with teaching and how wonderful it is, and your students must be fabulous.
Uh,
I want to thank you again for taking the time. Lisa Albanowski here. Thank you for tuning into the Business Forum. I'm always here to connect community. Thanks again. Have a wonderful evening, Paul.
Thank you, Lisa.
Have a good night.
Take care. Do the same. Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye-bye.